Sabotage number 3 of 2019 for smuggling gold worth over 27 billion shillings have been taken to court for the third time today in Mwanza Region's Resident Magistrate Court after failing to appear in court on February the 25th due to rains.
Accused, 8 of whom were police officers as well as 4 minerals officers, were taken to court at 8 a.m. under tight police security. In the case, which was registered January 11th of this year and is being heard by resident magistrate Gwaye Sumaye, the defense attorney for accused number 5 to 12, Stephen Makwega, questioned why his clients were not taken to court on February 25th. The state prosecutor, Castus Ndamugoba, who is also the director of prosecutions for Mwanza region, said that the accused were not in court due to heavy rains that began from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and added that it is best that there is communication between both sides. Investigations into the case are not yet completed, and it is alleged that between December 15th last year and January 5th of this year, the 12 accused conspired to smuggle gold minerals weighing 319.59 kilograms worth 27 billion shillings, asked for and received a 700 million shillings bribe, which is against the law.
The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, has today met and held talks with a delegation from Russia led by a special counselor of the President of Russia on African issues, the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mikhail Bogdanov, at State House in Dar es Salaam. President Magufuli thanked the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, for the good cooperation and relationship between Tanzania and Russia and assured him that the government he is leading is aware of the importance of the relationship.
They've spoken about the relationship between Tanzania and Russia, but most importantly, they've agreed that either in May or June, a joint commission between Russia and Tanzania on trade, investment and economic development. They've agreed to take part in various investment opportunities in Tanzania regarding minerals, gas as well as tourism. This year, Russia has chosen Tanzania to be the one with the most attractive tourist sites in the world, so we hope to get a lot of tourists from Russia. I came here in 2011, but now things have clearly changed and we can see how Tanzania is progressing. In Russia, we had a difficult phase too, but since Russia has been under the leadership of Vladimir Putin, we now have a new position and resources to help our friends in Africa. We've agreed in the future we will sign a contract regarding trade relations, which will give us an opportunity to further strengthen our ties.
We have a discussion about future cooperation projects between the Kingdom of Morocco and the United Republic of Tanzania. His Excellency the President showed all his predisposition that we move forward with all the projects according to the agreements that were signed during the visit of His Majesty the King in October 2016. Well, some has already been implemented. We are talking especially about the construction of the mosque, which is underway, and also the future launching of the construction of the football stadium, two of the landmarks of Morocco and Tanzania cooperation.
Tanzania Forestry Service, TFS, in collaboration with Kahama District Government, has seized 4 cars that were transporting timber from Ninga and Mkurungu trees, which the government have banned from being harvested. Among the goods captured include logs and charcoal. Speaking after seizing the vehicles, the chairman of the Defense Committee of Kama District, who is also the district commissioner of the region, Anamringi Macha, directed Ushetu council manager, TFS manager and the police to confiscate the consignment and gave 30 days for the owners of the vehicles to pay the fine. Otherwise, they shall also be confiscated and auctioned.
All relevant authorities, I ask you to follow rules and regulations when dealing with such people. Trees for this type of timber are reserved. I ask you to find the owners so they can come and collect their lorries within 30 days.
Katika halmashauri ya wilaya ya Ushetu hatuna uvunaji ambao unaruhusiwa kisheria.
No tree harvesting is allowed in the reserve area by law. Neither is any kind of harvesting.
The National Committee of Minerals and Energy has visited and inspected construction of the Ministry of Energy offices in Uhumwa Town, Dodoma region, and they have questioned the durability of the premises since the contractor completed the project below the initiated timeframe.
If there are any defects, who will bear the cost? Will it be the government or the people who supervised construction? How can you agree to these terms when you are the one who did all the work from the very beginning?
Defense and safety organs in Tanga are detaining 13 Somalians and a Kenyan and a Burundian for entering the country with a passport that has fake stamps and are not verified to have been stamped in the country. Tanga Police Commander Assistant Senior Police Commissioner Edward Bukombe said that the illegal immigrants were caught after using Himo area in Kilimanjaro region traveling to Tanga, and they were apprehended when they got to Korogwe district on the borders of Kilimanjaro and Tanga regions.
We've arrested one vehicle that came from Himo with some illegal migrants. 2 Kenyans, 13 285 illegal migrants have been verified and will leave in phases according to the communication we will receive from Ethiopia.
Residents of Mkalama village in High District have raised complaints towards the investor who took their land and established a ranch and chased residents away from the land that they were using for many years and asked the government to intervene. Speaking at the village meeting, the former village chairman stated that the investor took their land without any agreement from them, and now they have no land to farm or even raise their cattle in.
The investor is using land to rear pigs and sheep, and he lets out land at 200,000 shillings. As a former leader, I must intervene and see what the investor is doing is what the government intended. One major cause of land dispute is when land is given without following set rules and regulations. There are meetings going on. The chair and other officials have been bypassed.
The state attorney said that investigations on the murder of Wayne Lotta, aged 52, facing a Burundian national, Habonimana Nyanzwi, and 16 others are still in their final stages. Lotta was the manager and founder of Palms Foundation, who was shot dead in August the 16th of 2017 at the junction of Chole and Haile Selassie roads in Kinondoni district, Dar es Salaam region. State Attorney Simon Wankio stated in front of Kevin Mhina, the resident judge in charge at Kisutu Court, that they are in the final stages of the investigations and asked the court to dismiss the case. The resident judge adjourned the case until the 27th of March of 2019, with the accused still retained in custody. The Minister of Works, Transport and Communication, Engineer Isaac Kamwelwe, has said that he is not satisfied with operations done by the Dar es Salaam port, especially in the area of releasing cargo. He made the statement at the signing ceremony where Tanzania Railway Corporation TRC and the World Food Programme WFP signed an agreement on renovations of 40 wagons that will transport food from Tanzania to other parts of Africa, with the minister emphasizing on the Ports Authority to fulfill their responsibilities diligently.
Eneo linalonisumbua mimi ni eneo la bandari na kuna taasisi tatu.
The area I find most challenging is to do with the port, and there are three elements: our bosses, ERA, TPA, TRC, and if one fails, one cannot proceed. Port performance is not satisfactory as a result.
And we see this very much as a win-win, whereby we are able to support the TRC, and in turn, we continue to gain very great support from TRC. By making this investment, TRC has been able to confirm rates that we will be able to use both in Tanzania and in support of our operations throughout the region for the next 3 years. To give you a sense of the scale at which WFP operates, through supply chain activities we've invested in excess of $300 million since 2010 in the Tanzanian economy.
That's all for national news. International news is next. And in international news, the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, has begun a 2-day official visit in Kenya. He arrived in Nairobi shortly after 2 p.m. from Ethiopia, where he met with the Prime Minister of the country, Ahmed Abiy. This is President Macron's first visit to East Africa since he was elected.
That we will be able to strengthen, our relationship, our cooperation in various areas of our development, but also to strengthen more so the friendship between our two peoples. France has been involved in Kenya ever since the time of our independence. You're one of the single largest investors in our country. Your support in our energy sector, in our water sector, is something that we as a government and the people of Kenya appreciate.
What we want to do is now to build a new partnership for the region and for the bilateral relation. I think what we need now, and we all concur, is concrete results. So what I think we should try to do together is perhaps with Kenya and Ethiopia and the African Union to work to design, I would say, a preferred option and to convince the different Arabic partners to work with us on an open agenda.
The African Union Summit 2019 has discussed the economy of the African continent, with youth seen to be moved by this year's summit, following the youth and entrepreneurship agenda being the center of discussions in Uganda.
So people coming, they can come from wherever they come.
We must understand change. In the past, our scholars were stuck on studying economics and development. As a continent, we must be the largest contributors to the growth of our economy.
Residents of Butembo have agreed to work with doctors fighting against the Ebola virus, which has thus far killed over 580 people, with who are asking for cooperation.
Aujourd'hui, nous mettons l'accent sur l'assise communautaire de la réponse. Il faut que
The fight for the future of Europe has entered a new phase, not only between those for and against the European Union, but also among EU supporters. They are competing visions for what the EU should be in relation to itself and the rest of the world. That competition is best represented by local leaders in France and in Germany, two of the EU's largest members who say they are strongly committed to strengthening the EU. But how so exactly? For more on this growing public disagreement in the French-German relationship, we have William Glucroft from our German partner Deutsche Welle joining us from Berlin. William, hello.
Hi there.
So what more can you tell us about the French and German positions on the EU?
Right, it's an interesting dynamic that's shaping up. I mean, what's coming out of Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, is really nothing new. He has made the revitalization and reform of the European Union the centerpiece of his presidency. It was what his campaign to become president was all about. And he has been pushing, especially Germany, time and again, to get on board with his vision of a more united, with more solidarity at the European level, more European level decision making, more European level finance and debt sharing, trying to get Germany on board with that, or at the very least get Germany to present its version of what it sees for the future of the European Union. That brings us to now, last week, Emmanuel Macron published a major article that appeared in newspapers in every one of the 28 member states of the EU, again outlining many of these things we've been hearing from him over the last couple of years as president of France, and with the unstated expectation that he might hear something back from Germany, maybe from Angela Merkel, the leader of Germany, the chancellor. He did get an answer back over the weekend from Germany, but it wasn't quite what he was expecting, perhaps. It didn't come from Angela Merkel. It came from the head of her conservative CDU party, Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer. That's AKK for short. It's a bit of a mouthful, maybe for your viewers, us for here too in Germany, so go by AKK. She wrote in a German newspaper over the weekend a sort of a response to Emmanuel Macron, agreeing with some points, some of the more conservative aspects about border security, about security in general, about how to process asylum applications in a more streamlined and efficient way at a more European level, but not agreeing on more common finances or common economics. So we're really seeing this division about where France and Germany comes down to, and also the fact that this is still not an official German position. It's just the position of Angela Merkel's party in advance of the European elections come May.
So speaking of this, what are some of these major differences and what might be the reasons for them?
Well, in short, to sort of sum it up, Emmanuel Macron is looking to something more like a United States of Europe, where decisions and policies are really shaped at a European level, probably in Brussels, and it's more solidarity, there's more sharing of finances, there's a common Eurozone budget, a common EU finance minister, these kinds of things, so that the countries that struggle more in the EU get more support from their richer partners, Germany and more of Northern Europe. This is something that Germany has always been mostly against. It's waffled on. Germany is saying, nope, you're more or less on your own with your economic issues, with the national problems of other nation states in the EU. And what the vision that AKK outlined was, yes, more solidarity, yes, more strength when it comes to security, when it comes to common EU defense, but that the EU would not really be a superstate, as Macron sees it, but more of a forum where the individual members, the individual nations of the European Union can come together and discuss problems, but not as one superstate, but as individual nations. And that really is where the difference comes down to. Macron critics have said that the last thing the EU needs, the last thing European citizens want, is more bureaucracy, more European institutions, more commissions, more councils, and that more decision-making needs to happen at member state level so that people feel more included in the process. And this is really what the European parliamentary elections are going to come down to in May, just how much power European citizens want to give to the European level.
So, William, the EU plays a significant, and it has a significant presence in Africa. Does Africa play any role in these leaders thinking about the future of the EU?
It does, in fact. It's actually very interesting that although both of these newspaper articles from Macron and from AKK, both of them were, of course, very inward-focused, speaking to a European audience, and really only mentioned major world powers like the U.S. and China, but it did mention specifically one region and one region only, and that is Africa. So it's clear that both countries, France and Germany, looking towards the future of the EU and what the EU might look like, whatever it might look like, has to involve Africa and the African region economically and for security reasons. Especially Macron, in his article, talked about more education initiatives, especially education for girls, the European Union helping Africa on that front. And AKK for Germany, she said that there needs to be even fewer barriers when it comes to economic integration, especially when it comes to agriculture, allowing African farmers more access to EU markets, even undoing some of the European subsidies that make it harder for African farmers and industry to compete with their European counterparts. So these aren't very strong commitments, they're not firm commitments, they're not specific commitments, but the fact that Africa was mentioned at all in these statements really does go to show the kind of thinking that major European leaders are having when it comes to integrating Africa into the future of the European Union.
Thank you very much, William, for this insight. I'll catch you again soon. And that is all for international news. Do stay with us. We'll be back with business news after this break.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand. You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back and on to business news. Entrepreneurs and goods producers in the country have been urged to take advantage of market opportunities in China, which has demands of agricultural harvests, especially cassava and tobacco, as well as to learn modern technologies that will help them produce many items of good quality.
The response is good, and we hope that more people will come forward, because China has a big market and has technology that we can use to add value to our produce. So we must make sure that Tanzania businessmen and women utilize this opportunity.
About the Tanzania regions and give a very good policy to Chinese investors. And now we're also facing a bigger challenges about the immigration problems, I think so. So we need an government to help for the immigration issue.
Some entrepreneurs in Ilala's tax region who cannot afford to purchase EFD machines so that they can provide receipts to customers have asked Tanzania Revenue Authority, TRA, to set up a special procedure to loan them the machines so that they can give their clients receipts for their purchases.
Those with no money to pay, they can enter into a system whereby tax owed is estimated, so they can pay together with any other tax owed. I urge other businesses to register their businesses, because this gives you an identity, but also you can be eligible for a loan. We ask every business owner to come forward either to make a payment, and if tax owed has not been estimated, then we will be able to do the estimation so he can pay on time. But also for those with complaints on tax estimation, please go and speak to the managers.
Despite Lindi region producing 80 kilos of cashew nuts each season, a large percentage of the cashew nuts are sold out of the country unprocessed, something which causes lack of employment to residents of the region. Thus, the government on regional level have asked investors to come out and invest in cashew nut processing factories.
There are business officers from district level, TCCIA, as well as people from Social Security who are in charge of other informal financial groups such as Vikoba and SACCOS. Our aim is to reach business owners right at the low end. We can no longer wait at the office. We have to come out and meet the general public. BRELA has its headquarters in Dar es Salaam, but those in need of our services are throughout the country.
And that's all for business news. We'll be back with sports.
Hi, my name is Kotaro Tokuda.
What's up? My name is Sian Garnier.
I'm John Barnes from Liverpool Football Club. The hip, hop, the hippie, the hip, hip, hop. You don't stop the rockin' to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear?
I'm watching Sports Gazette.
I'm watching Sport Gazette.
And you're watching Sports Gazette
with Sebastian.
With Sebastian. Peace out.
Yes! And you can also watch Sports Gazette for highlights and interviews regarding sports. Do not miss Sports Gazette every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on Capital Television.
And in sports, the National Sports Council has agreed to push forward the date of the National Professional Boxing Commission elections from the 39th of March.
Promoters who have boxers should make sure that the ones that will come are in box rec and not just saying, I'm a boxer and I fought where I'm from in Kisarawe and he's not in the system. This one is not recognized as a professional yet. So he should wait for his time.
The national sailing team expect to use the experience obtained at the Uganda Open, where they finished in the top 3 positions, by performing so as to perform even better at the African Championships scheduled to take place in the Seychelles.
For now, we are in a stage where they already have experience. Now they just need their own training and fitness. That is the most important thing. For those who won, the youngster started since he was 9, and every time he competes, he gets experience. So this time he said, no, Tanzanians cannot be last all the time. So he gave his shot, and God was with him. He was able to win.
Kwa hiyo safari akasema hapana. Kwa nini kwa Watanzania tu wa mwisho kila siku? Kwa hiyo amethubutu na Mungu amejalia, amefanikiwa.
Cristiano Ronaldo says Juventus brought him to Italy to perform the extraordinary after the Portuguese forward scored a hat-trick to take the Turin club to the UEFA Champions League quarter-finals.
Trailing 2-0 from the first leg in Spain, Ronaldo was facing up to the prospect of failing to reach at least the semi-finals for the first time since 2010 and only the second time in 12 seasons. The fans of the Turin club had yet to see their £99 million summer signing produce the sort of displays in Europe that helped Real Madrid to 4 Champions League titles in 5 seasons. But that all changed on a thrilling night inside the Juventus stadium. Having brought the tie level with 2 typical headers, Ronaldo capped off another remarkable performance and entered Juventus folklore when he smashed in the tie winner from the spot 4 minutes from time after Federico Bernardeschi had been fouled in the area. It was his 124th goal in the Champions League and 8th hat-trick in the competition. The home fans erupted on the final whistle and the players rushed to Ronaldo. It was meant to be a special night, and it was, not just for my goals but for the attitude we showed, the 34-year-old said.
And that sports item ends our news bulletin. On behalf of everyone who worked to prepare this bulletin for you, my name is Vanessa Victor. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
Salads are great options, and even sandwiches for lunch are good too.
And it's made with sourdough, so it ferments over 16 to 24 hours. The only ingredients is flour, water and salt. There's nothing else, no artificial yeast, no enhancers, anything, and the taste is great.
And you can also find out on the recipes that will be useful for a very simple and quick lunch at home. When we saw the chef in the kitchen making the mayonnaise, she made it sound so easy and so perfect.
Reef and marine channel ecosystems.
Kisiwa hakina stress, watu ni wakarimu, pia mazingira bado ni mazuri sana.
Don't miss it this Thursday.